Rule 1. The boarding medical override. Here's something most seniors don't realize before they ever set foot on that ship. That doctor standing at the gangway, he doesn't work for you. He works for the cruise line, and he has the legal authority written into your ticket contract to deny your boarding right there at the pier if he decides you represent a medical risk. Picture this. You've planned this trip for 18 months. You're standing at the gangway in your cruise clothes, luggage tagged, excursions booked, deposits paid, and the ship's medical officer reviews your boarding health questionnaire and says, "I'm sorry, you cannot board today." No refund, no reschedule. Vacation over. This isn't an edge case. Cruise lines have significantly tightened their boarding medical reviews since 2022, and most passengers over 65 have at least one pre-existing condition flagged on that questionnaire. Hypertension, diabetes, a recent surgery, any of those can trigger a secondary assessment. The protective move is simple, and it costs you nothing. Before your cruise, ask your personal doctor for a brief written statement, fit to travel, dated within 30 days of departure. Not because every line requires it, but because if a ship's medical officer questions your health status at the pier, that letter is the only thing standing between you and the dock. One question, one decision, and everything you paid for, gone. Rule 2. The medication confiscation rule. And this one gets entire families blindsided. You packed your medications carefully. You have a full 30-day supply. Your doctor signed off. You're prepared. What you don't know is that cruise lines maintain their own controlled substance lists, and those lists do not always match what's legal in your home state or even federally. Certain sleep aids, certain anxiety medications, certain pain management drugs. If a security scan flags your prescription bottles and the quantity exceeds what their onboard policy allows, those medications can be confiscated at embarkation. Not delayed, not held for review, confiscated. No exceptions, no negotiations, and no way to replace a controlled prescription in a foreign port. Here's what you do. Before you sail, contact your cruise line's medical department directly, not the general customer service line. Ask specifically about their controlled substance policy and the quantity limits they enforce. Then carry your original pharmacy labels, your doctor's prescription letter, and keep medications in their original bottles, all of them, every single time. Because leaving port without your blood pressure medication is not a small inconvenience. It is a medical emergency waiting to happen. Rule 3. The 72-hour symptom window. Okay, let's slow down for just a moment. This next rule isn't here to scare you. It's actually one of the most useful things I'll tell you today. Because once you understand how it works, you can use it to protect yourself completely. Every major cruise line operates under what's called a 72-hour illness monitoring protocol. If you report, or if crew members observe symptoms of gastrointestinal illness within 72 hours of boarding, the ship's medical team can move you into what's officially called voluntary isolation in your cabin. Now, is this targeting seniors? No. It's a legitimate health measure designed to prevent norovirus from spreading to 3,000 other passengers. Outbreaks happen fast on ships. The protocol exists for a reason. But here's the part that catches people off guard. Passengers who report symptoms themselves are treated as patients. Passengers who are reported by crew members are treated as risks. Those two situations are handled very differently. If you board feeling slightly off, a mild stomachache, a bit of fatigue from travel, don't hide it. Go to the medical center and report it early. You'll get care, you'll get guidance, and you stay in control of the situation. Practical tip for the night before your cruise: eat lightly, skip the alcohol, get a full night's sleep. Boarding healthy is the best protection you have, and it costs you nothing. All right, now back to the rules that are going to surprise you.
And if you want more tips on how not to lose money or avoid risks, subscribe to my channel.
Rule 4, the Excursion waiver trap. And this is the one that shocks even experienced cruisers. You signed up for a shore excursion, snorkeling, zip-lining, a jeep tour through the jungle. You clicked confirm, entered your card number, and moved on. What you almost certainly did not read, because almost nobody does, is the liability waiver embedded in the excursion booking confirmation. That document, which you agreed to by completing the purchase, transfers full legal liability for any injury, medical emergency, or accident during that excursion from the cruise line to you, completely, entirely, legally. A passenger named Richard booked a horseback riding excursion in Cozumel through the ship's official tour desk. His horse spooked, he fell, fractured his wrist and his hip. He was airlifted to a hospital on the mainland. The total bill? Over $40,000. The cruise line's response? They pointed to the liability waiver he had accepted at booking. Their legal exposure? Zero. One click, one waiver, and $40,000 you were not prepared to spend. Before every excursion, read the waiver, not the summary, the full document, and check that your travel insurance explicitly covers excursion injuries, including medical evacuation. If it doesn't, you are self-insured in a foreign country with no backup. Okay, real talk. Which of these has shocked you the most so far? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. And we're only halfway through, because what's coming next? These last 3 rules are the ones the cruise lines really don't want you talking about. Rule 5, the loyalty points expiration trap. Here's one that's less about danger and more about not losing money you've already earned. If you've cruised before, and I'm guessing you have, you almost certainly have loyalty points sitting in a cruise line rewards account somewhere. Royal Caribbean's Crown and Anchor, Carnival's VIFP Club, Princess's Captain Circle. Those points have real value. Free cabin upgrades, onboard credits, priority boarding, benefits worth hundreds of dollars. What most passengers don't realize is that every major cruise loyalty program has an expiration policy buried in the terms and conditions. Miss a certain window without sailing, and your status, and in some cases your points, quietly resets. For passengers who cruise every year, this isn't an issue. But for seniors who cruise every 2 or 3 years, that gap is exactly where points disappear. 3 quick things to do before your next cruise. 1. Log into your loyalty account right now and check when your status expires. 2. If you're within 6 months of expiration, even a short 3-night cruise can reset the clock on most major lines. 3. Check whether your travel credit card has a partner connection to your cruise line. Some cards let you transfer points directly, which also counts as activity. It's a small thing, but losing $400 in earned loyalty value because of a date you didn't know about, that stings. And now, you know.
Rule 6, the Accessible Cabin Reassignment Clause. And this one gets people furious, for good reason. You booked an accessible cabin. Maybe you use a walker. Maybe your spouse has limited mobility. Maybe you simply need the grab bars and the wider doorway to be safe on a moving ship. You booked that room months in advance. You confirmed it. You planned your entire trip around it. What is written into most cruise line ticket contracts, in language almost no one reads, is a clause that allows the cruise line to reassign your accessible cabin before departure if they determine that another passenger has a more acute medical need for that specific accommodation. No appeal process, no compensation guarantee, no obligation to find you a comparable alternative. A passenger named Dorothy, 71 years old, traveling with a rollator, arrived at embarkation to discover her accessible cabin had been reassigned. The replacement cabin had a standard bathroom, a step-in shower, and a door she physically could not navigate safely. She spent 7 days on a ship that was not equipped for her needs, in a cabin she specifically paid extra to avoid. No warning, no alternative, no refund. The protection. When booking an accessible cabin, request written confirmation that your specific cabin number is guaranteed, not just an accessible cabin category. Get it in writing, referenced in your booking confirmation, and follow up 30 days before departure to reconfirm. It takes 10 minutes and it protects everything. Next up is what really gets people in trouble. Alright, before I hit you with the last rule, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because every week I bring you the cruise secrets most passengers only find out after they've already paid for the lesson. Now, Rule 7. Rule 7, the card block that strands seniors at sea. This last one, this is the one I want every senior watching this to hear very carefully. When you board a cruise ship and register your credit or debit card at check-in, the cruise line doesn't simply save your card number for the end of the voyage. They immediately place a pre-authorization hold on your account. That hold, which is standard practice across every major cruise line, is typically between $300 and $500 per person, sometimes higher on luxury lines. It is charged before you've bought a single drink, before you've booked a single excursion, the moment you walk on board. Now here's why this hits seniors harder than any other group of passengers. Many passengers over 65 travel on a fixed income. They've budgeted carefully for this trip. They've set aside $600 for onboard spending, and they've tied their cruise card to a debit card connected directly to their checking account. The moment they board, $400 of that money is frozen. They don't know it. Nobody told them at check-in. And for the rest of the voyage, their card keeps declining. I've read the stories in the cruise forums. Passengers unable to pay for emergency purchases in foreign ports. Passengers whose cards triggered fraudulence mid-voyage because the hold pattern looked unusual to their bank. Seniors who came home to find their checking accounts still frozen because the hold takes 3 to 7 business days to release after disembarkation. No warning at boarding, no explanation, just a frozen account and a very confusing cruise. The protection is straightforward. Register a credit card, not a debit card for your onboard account. A credit card hold doesn't touch your available cash. And before you sail, call your bank, tell them you'll be on a cruise, give them the dates and the approximate hold amount so your card doesn't trigger an automatic fraud block on day one. Now you know what thousands of seniors find out the hard way every single year. But once you know these rules, really know them, the cruise stops being a gamble. You board with confidence, you spend smarter, you protect yourself at every port. And that's exactly what this channel is here for. Tell me in the comments which rule shocked you the most, and if you've got a cruise coming up, are you going to do anything differently now? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.